Hi there. My name is Mark Birch, Global Startup Advocate at AWS. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Ilan Dardik. I'm the CTO of Axiom Security. We're a cyber startup security, obviously by the name. We do access control, so we help organizations that are very focused on the cloud to manage everything that has to do with permissions. So who has access to where, how to automate the whole process, and in the end, when it's no longer needed, take it away in a very user-friendly way.
How did you actually get started on this whole journey? Like why is security such a big deal for you?
It is. When you think about like entrepreneurship in general, it's such a complex term behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But when you would dig into it, well, we started digging into it, you figure out that the process is very simple. It's very tough, but it's simple. You gotta develop something or do something that other people find valuable, and it's usually through some kind of a problem you had or you discovered. And how we stumbled upon what we do now is part of what we did behind that is I have a decade and my co-founder have a decade in cloud and security in general, and access control was always a problem. So it was, from my perspective, I was leading R&D organization, so we had that all the time. Same thing from his perspective. And then we said, if we have the problem, it wasn't solved properly until now, I wonder why there is nothing like that until now. Then we started our validation ideation phase. We spoke with at least 100 companies, from Netflix to banks to whoever could have talked to us.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide, don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
how did you actually get access to some of these big companies?
I think this is what you should do as an entrepreneur. You'll find a way somehow. So we started off very simply, talking with our first level connections and talking about them with the problem. And when you speak, let's say, enough no nonsense in the conversation and get to the point properly, and you have a good conversation with people, usually they see what you're going through, and they've probably been entrepreneurs or some kind of entrepreneurs before that, and they know what you're going through, so they keep connecting you. And through that, it's like a motion, and you keep hustling away until you get to those connections that are really valuable for you in the validation phase. So it started from there. And then, of course, once you get some kind of a network going, then it gets easier, but it's always tough because everybody's time is very important. Moreover, when it's C-level executive and other security experts, their time is very valuable. And you're trying to take a very part of it, but to be very valuable for them as well.
So once you went through these interviews and you got a little bit of validation, like, okay, here's like definitely the problem. How do you go about actually building out the solution?
So even before we started building a solution, we started selling something we didn't have. So we were meeting with those security experts behind the scenes or offering them something we didn't have, right? And once we showed them the presentation and things maybe a bit working behind the scenes, and we got the buy-in from them. So they were asking things like, is it ready yet? Can try it on? And we would never say at the start of a conversation, it's not existing yet. We were just going on with it, of course, respectfully. And then in the end would say, it's not existing yet. We didn't build it yet, but it's going to be in half a year. Would you be inclined to be a design partner or a POC partner once we have it up? And then we knew somehow already what we should be building, right? You never know if this is exactly what you should be building, but you iterate through it, right? You discover things, you build something, then you do it all over again, and you measure everything to make sure you're solving it in the proper way. And it's always, always a journey.
Exactly. It's all in iterations and actually building that trust with customers. And it sounds like you were able to get some real good buying signals early on from those conversations.
That how we knew that the problem is not just in our heads, it's out there as well. And it's an important phase to have, right? Even more when you raise money and it's somebody else's money that you're taking on your shoulders, and now you expect it to deliver on top of it. So of course you want to know there's a problem you're solving. It's worth being solved.
So maybe talk a little bit about how the customer experiences your solution today. Like, how is it actually impacting their day-to-day operation?
Right. Security usually, or has been until now, a very zero-sum game, right? It's all or security or productivity. But in the last 1 years, we saw a shift that even security and everything that is being done should take the business forward. And, with the cloud and the elasticity, everything became very clear that why we're using the cloud to keep the business moving quickly forward, right? So we thought security should do the same. It shouldn't be impeding the business to move forward. It should help it by doing it whatever they need to do, but still not hurting the business. So this is how we see the solution. We provide with the tools in order to build least privilege access in the process, but in a way that the process itself is not cumbersome for the end user, and they could get the access they need to the places they need to do their job, of course. But if it's very easy to take it away and give it away, then the whole process is not broken, right?
Right.
And this is how we took the only security thing and then put productivity into it. So you don't have to strike the balance between security only or productivity only. You have both of the things running in parallel.
Yeah, I think that's a super valuable insight because, in this world, we're moving a lot faster in terms of trying to get product and shipping product and delivering for customers. And so, not having to make this decision between, am I going to be secure or I'm going to be productive, but being able to marry the two is a hugely impactful solution for large companies.
Definitely agree. And it should be a spectrum, right? Because according to the business and what you do, you should be able to strike the balance.
Right.
And if you're a place where security is very important, let's say government stuff or playing with people's money, it's very important to have security in place. But it's always like a spectrum. You should be able to say, where do I cut the line, and have the tools in place to build it in a proper way that you should be in some places more secure, in some places less. And the security tools of nowadays should be helping you do so, and not just say, okay, this is how you should work. This is the only way to work. It's this or nothing. So that's how we look at it.
So tell me, what does the future hold? Are you think about different products? Are you think about different customer segments or markets? Is there fundraising in the horizon?
Right. So access control and IAM in general is such a broad term, right? So, and it's very segmented, and you have mission critical places, and you have day-to-day SaaS and applications. Currently, we cater to more technical and mission critical environments and applications, but maybe the future holds more and more segments of customers, because everybody knows what permissions is, and everybody has that TDS ticket, being sent to IT requesting some access somewhere. Ideally, we would be the platform to manage all access everywhere in like a centralized place. And if you can strike the balance between security and productivity all over the organization, I think it's a big win for us.
So as you've been on this journey now for a little while, you've probably maybe picked up a few things around being an entrepreneur. Is there something you'd like to share just about your own personal experience that you think might be insightful for others?
Sure. I think in general, as part of the growth journey that I went through, even before being an entrepreneur, or that having that word on top of your head, you figure out a couple of things. The first one is everything's contextual, right? So it doesn't matter what advice you get. It's probably advice is very contextual to whatever the person that gave you the advice had in his context, and a lot of it is we trying to figure out. What we did is we spoke with a lot of other entrepreneurs to figure out what kind of mistakes not to do, and you hear a whole variety of advice, and very, very talented, interesting people, super smart startups, very successful, and then you hear the deviations. Do that, don't do this. And then you realize that everything should be done according to your own context and life. And it might work for them. It might work for them, but not necessarily work for you. So Itai and I, my co-founder, we realized that pretty quickly, right? And then you just understand that part of being an entrepreneur, doing something new, is figuring stuff as you go, but trying to avoid the obvious mistakes. And you'll probably do obvious mistakes. That's part of the journey. So that's going to be the first one. And the other one that I like a lot is the 4 types of luck. You know that one?
No, please, sure.
It's an essay I read once. I forgot the name, I'm blanking on the name. And it just says about you have 4 kinds of luck. And the first one is just pure luck, which is the kind of, you just go on the street, $1 million falls on you and you're rich, right? The obvious luck everybody knows. You have the second type of luck, which is hustling luck, which is luck of motion. Ideally, you know those people. Usually, they're all over the place. They're always working, always hustling away, and somehow because they steer enough things in the air, something hits, right?
Right.
And then when something hits, you get lucky. But you expose yourself to more luck opportunities. And then there's the third part of luck, which is spotting luck in somebody else. So that's usually, those experts that usually this kid is going to be successful, right? Or like VCs, that's 100% of what they do. They're trying to spot the correct luck. They're going to provide them with the return they need. So they got very good in spotting luck in others. And then there's the fourth one, which is the luck that you make on yourself by being unique. So ideally, let's say, right, I'm a diver and I'm the only diver in the world that can do 100 meters without any gear. The second that somebody, let's say, needs to find a treasure deep inside 100 meters, but you cannot go with gear inside, nothing like that, luck is going to spot me. So if you're unique enough and you have a good offering, good value proposition, luck is going to find you in the end. And I think this four kinds of luck, pretty much entail how you should look at a lot of what you do. Is it something that I was lucky, just pure luck in that? Was it hustling? Was it spotting somebody else? That was very helpful for us in the journey.
I think that's a really great framing in luck. Everyone says that as an entrepreneur, you got to make your own luck, but I like the way you actually describe that. I think it's really informative for folks that are listening. So thank you so much for being part of this, and would love to learn more about your journey as you go forward.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. And folks listening, take care now. Bye.